Welcome back, my friends, for episode 27 of Beyond Bricks and Mortar. Today I'm joined by Alan Gabay. Now, in this conversation, we talk a lot about our respective markets between New York and Florida, how those markets meld, how the market exploded in Florida over the last few years. But we also go deep on how Alan thinks about this business, how he looks to be a bridge between the worlds and minds of buyer and seller, revealing Alan's true approach to the work, which is to make it bigger than himself. I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. And as someone who has over 20 years of experience selling homes in Florida, there is a lot to learn from this man. So as always, I'm very excited for you to listen and watch this one. And if you are new here, welcome. New episodes of Beyond Bricks and Mortar are every single Wednesday. So make sure to hit the like, the subscribe, all the buttons. You know how this goes. Every week I do this. But now, without any further ado, here he is, the man himself, Alan Gabay.
Want me to put this on?
Yes, if you don't mind.
Yes. Done this before.
Good.
All right.
Oh, yeah, you're a Sirhan man. You must have done this before.
Done this with lots of other companies. I was Ellerman before Sirhan.
Yes, we both were. I was there for about 9 years.
I was there a little less, but then I was with Disney for a long time.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. I want to hear about that.
Early careers.
Okay.
Yes.
I like that.
So tell me.
I broke out, I have a thing with hotel pens. I like to collect pens from different hotels. So, in your honor, I'm using a Breakers of Palm Beach pen today. But I wanted to make sure that you really keep New York in your heart. So I wanted to give to you a pen from the Peninsula, New York.
Fantastic.
Please hang on to that.
Thank you.
Use it when you're in Florida.
There you go. Put it right where it belongs.
This is a great suit, by the way. I love the green. It's a great contrast. You look fantastic, as always.
Thank you. This is actually an old suit from the 90s.
So,
that still fits.
It's very in.
And same thing with the tie.
I love it.
It's like it's all come back. So
I love it.
It's comfy.
And even, I feel like because you're from Florida, you don't even get phased on a 92-degree day like today, walking around in a suit.
No. Everybody's complaining, and I'm like,
you came in and you were cool as a cucumber.
Right. I'm like, this is just another day, and I always wear a suit. It's part of my brand.
Yeah.
So people like, aren't you hot in this suit? And I would be, if I was in a t-shirt, I would still be hot.
Yeah.
I just don't believe in sweating, so it just doesn't happen.
For the longest time, wearing a suit every day has been my brand, but only in recent months have I been more comfortable changing it up and picking 1 or 2 days a week where I'm a bit more casual, and
right.
It just kind of like shifts the mindset a little bit.
Yeah. I understand that, but you just never know. I learned a long time ago in business, you have 1 second to make that first impression.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
And this was back in the day of the corporate America deals, and you wore suits every day with a white shirt. Now I at least add
you
color.
said you learned it a long time ago. Did something happen?
Well, I was working with...
Did you run into a client in your underwear or something?
No, I actually was... when I started working with Disney, they sent us to media training. And one of the first things, because we weren't allowed to actually report to the board members, I was part of a lot of the development teams for their cable networks. And I wasn't allowed to report to the board members until you had media training and you had to talk to them and how to do it. And they were very specific at how you had to look. And when you were representing the company, you had 1 second to represent the company and to make that impression that never goes away. And I took that over into real estate because so many agents are sitting there, especially in Florida. I've been doing it there 20 years now. And people will come out in like a polo shirt and shorts and show, multi-million-dollar properties.
Wow.
And I'll come in a suit and tie. And it just became part of my brand. And I end up getting a lot of these clients that come with other brokers because they see me and they just assume it's more professional because I actually dress for them. Yeah. And they respect that.
I got to tell you, I love wearing a suit and tie. Yeah. It's like the best part of my morning routine is suiting up.
Yeah. I agree, and it's so much easier than actually trying to put together other outfits.
Yeah, like a casual outfit and making it look good. I mean, there's some of those, like you have the brokers that really focus downtown in Manhattan. Most of them are a bit more casual. Right. Even though they do a tremendous amount of business. Right. So it obviously varies brand to brand. Right. But yeah, I've always been a suit and tie guy, and I really love it. Yeah. It's a powerful feeling.
Yep. It brings a level of confidence. I just get it.
Yeah. So, normally over the last... I guess we're in the 27th or 28th episode now. all of but one before this one, I did a sort of no prep conversation. And recently I've been toying with this concept because I feel like we run into people all the time where it comes a lot easier. And you are certainly one of those people. Yeah, I remember when we had a conversation at 200 Amsterdam not too long ago, and I was just dialed in to whatever you were telling me at the time. It's like, you know what? Alan is the perfect guest to do no prep and just get into a conversation about what's going on in your world.
That's it, because, it's my life. I just, I blend my personal life, my professional life. It all kind of melds together. And as many of my friends have told me over the years, that what do they tell me? You have no shame in your game. I just say,
as well, you should
say
not.
Say what it means, but you learn when not to say something to a client or to a friend.
Yes.
And when to be honest about something. And, I'm just me.
Yeah.
And I do know how to talk about a lot of different subjects because I'm just well versed.
You're from New York originally, are you not?
Born in the Bronx.
Because even if I don't care where I ran into you in the world, I could tell you're from New York.
Oh yeah, and everyone's like, well, that voice is very specific. But what's really interesting is that I've had diction lessons.
Interesting.
So this is the after effect.
Wow.
Because they really couldn't understand me when I was a kid, because I grew up in a multi-generational, there was the one set of grandparents were Polish who didn't speak English, the other set were Turkish that didn't speak English, and I was just a conglomerate of all of this type of languages, and, I went to some type of, before kindergarten, something they test you for, and they're like, you need to send him for lessons because he is, we don't really understand. Like, they all understood me because this was family. Like, they knew what I was saying, but out there in the public, they didn't. So when I use that as part of my spiel. I'm like, because people will say, oh, that voice. And I was like, hey, you should have heard it before.
Yeah. It's
what
not
was
like,
in the Bronx. It was really
It's not like an RFK Jr. or one of those.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Can I offer you a drink?
Sure. Scotch?
I have a couple single malts.
That's fine.
I also have a bourbon, whatever you prefer.
Oh, I'll take a single malt.
Take a single malt? Okay, how about this one? This one's pretty good.
Oh, very good.
People seem to be happy with this. Do you prefer neat or rocks?
Neat.
Okay, you got it. I have a neat glass for you.
There you go. Thank you very much.
Of course, it's my pleasure. I'm happy to have you.
I am happy to be here. I mean, when we spoke about it, I was like, sure. And I remember you were going to come to Florida. You didn't make it.
Not yet.
And I'm
still planning on coming.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm coming up here. Why don't I just call you?
Yeah.
And do it here?
Yeah, I want to get out there in July because I have a few interviews in mind.
Right.
I'm going to be doing a series of interviews in Miami, which should be interesting. I'm also going to do a series of duos, two people in the chair at once, about 4 episodes of that. So I have a couple of interesting ones in mind for that too. So we'll see.
You could always do me and my associate Matt Van Wee as well. We're doing a lot of videos now in episodics, in reels, and some promotions that we're launching.
Yeah. Well, let's see how you do on this.
I mean, you never know. Yeah. I'm already pushing the next one. I haven't even finished this one yet.
Why don't we slow it down? Let's pump the brakes.
I'll have a little scotch. How's that? Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you for being here. So here's my first question to you. You moved to Florida, like you said, 20 years ago. When did you get into the real estate game?
When I moved down there.
Okay, so you've been in real estate for 20 years.
Yes.
And in Florida.
In Florida.
But over the last few years, there's been an explosion of activity in Florida. So I'm curious how that's affected you in your personal life at this stage of your career. You had already been doing it for 16, 17 years. Right. All of a sudden, there's like this resurgence, this explosion of activity. How did that change and affect your life?
It's funny. It really didn't change my life because
you were already busy.
You were already busy all the time. I mean, when I started, it was basically just before the recession, and everybody was freaking out. Everybody was short selling properties and trying to figure, what to do with it. And I went down there and I bought a few properties, wanted to have some passive income, and short sales came. The market crash, recession hit. And I sat there and I was like, there's opportunity here. Because I saw what was going on. I went to the banks. I wanted to know how to do my own short sales. They're like, well, you can't short sell your own property. But I was a guy in a suit from New York, and they're like, but we have a long list of people that you could speak to. We would like you to represent us. And they sent me to the asset management division of these banks. And the next thing I knew, it was like, we lent to this building, because it was all that lending that was going on.
Yeah.
You know, and the next thing I knew, I was like doing interviews at management companies, going out there. I was slamming in the recession. It was unbelievable how much business that was. And that just continued because we sold them, then we resold them, and we resold them. And then it was, this was a South American market coming into Florida because Florida was the first to crash. And it never stopped. And even with COVID, the world shut down except Florida.
Right.
We were considered essential employees, and we had to work all through COVID because Florida's their largest income stream is property tax sales.
Yeah.
So where everybody else was shut down.
I was knocked out for 3 months.
Yeah. We had to work through the whole thing. So it became very positive because it was a lot of virtuals, a lot of people coming down there. And then, so the market went up like crazy.
Yeah.
The demand was through the roof. And now that it's all settled again, pricing has come back to normal pricing. I don't like to say the bubble burst because it really wasn't a bubble. It was just this supply and demand because Florida is one of the few states that you could be outdoors all winter.
Right.
Where you were stuck here in New York indoors, or in a restaurant, in the gutter with a heat lamp trying to eat something.
People were chasing that freedom, and Florida really offered that to them at that time.
So it worked out. So really, like ever since I started, it was just being able to identify the next trend and get ahead of it.
Right.
And that's what I'm doing now. Like I've identified the next trend is more value property sales.
Interesting.
Because the market is oversaturated with new construction.
So how do you define that? What is the value property sale?
Under $1 million.
Interesting. In which markets exactly?
We're doing, I'm all over Miami, West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale. I really work the Tri-County area.
Yeah.
And because a lot of my clients still come out of the metro New York area.
Yeah. And
they're still coming down there. But people are realizing, somehow real estate decided that $1 million was where it deemed luxury sales started,
right,
at the $1 million number.
Yeah.
But pre-COVID, luxury could have been a $500,000 apartment. It still had pools, it still had gyms, it still
Florida,
had... Yeah. I mean, everything was there, and it just blew up.
Yeah, you could have bought like a house in Boynton Beach for like $420,000
exactly,
with a pool and everything.
And these numbers are, they're not coming back that low, but what was once $1 million, $1.1 million, is now 800.
Right.
Because it's just readjusted itself back to what real pricing needed to be.
Yeah. We saw that ebb and flow in so many of these markets, even outside of like the watch business went crazy. Like there was that real bubble and things kind of regulated again.
Right. Yeah. And people, we realize that, you just need to know the trends and be ahead of the trends.
Yeah.
I'm well read. I keep on top of everything that's going on in my industry and other industries because everything affects real estate ultimately.
Right.
It's either going to be what's the rate for your money, or it's supply and demand. There's three things. That's it. And right now there's still a huge demand, but there is a lot of supply because a lot of people just realized we don't need to be there all year long anymore.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, we defined luxury. I say, luxury is defined by your each individual lifestyle. And you know what? A lot of people can't walk into $1 million plus place. And they don't have to.
Right.
We're selling in Brickell all day long. 1 bedrooms for $650, $675, 2 bedrooms for $790.
And what's the makeup of that? Is that more so people buying residences, second residences, or investments?
No, it's actually the investment part of it has gone away because in that marketplace, in that price range, because we're finding it's all end users that are buying it.
Right.
And they're as a second home, third home, or a young, tech guy who came down and it's his first apartment he's buying. He made some money, and whether it's finance or tech or whatever.
And is it more so a second residence or a primary?
Mostly in the younger age group, the Gen Z age group, and the younger millennials, it's a primary. For the other ones, it's more of a vacation home, second home place, because a lot of it can work virtual. But the pricing has become so good that then this stuff stays on the market a week, 2 weeks. That's it.
Yeah.
Because when
high
people
volume.
are ready, when they've shopped around for a while and they've missed things, we're finding that the educated shopper, because, somebody new, they have to see 20 properties before they can make a decision on which one they want. And then they've lost it. But then they come back again and they're like, okay, now we know what to expect. And Florida, these buildings are mostly buildings from the recession. They were larger than they build them now. Just more square footage. They all have balconies. They all have washer dryers in the unit. They all had beautiful kitchens, beautiful bathrooms.
Just like a can of Coke.
Yeah.
Just like everything you need.
Yeah, and it was all just there. And a gym in-house, a pool in-house, free Wi-Fi, free cable. It's just all part of your amenities package. But the reason that this is happening now so well is because of the fact that the HOAs are now going up to a regular number. Because I've lived in Florida in co-ops, lots of time. I mean, in New York, you always pay a higher HOA, but when something breaks, they just fix it.
Yeah.
Florida was the one state that just let you push it aside. You don't have to fund your reserves all the way. When we need something, we'll assess you for it. And everybody voted to keep the monthlies down, and when you need it, we'll do it. And then what happened? The 40-year recertification process comes in, the new laws come in, the building in Surfside collapses because people kept pushing off, and then they decided, you know what? You got to fund your reserves.
What are they going to make of that site that fell down in Surfside?
Right now, nothing. It's
just an empty site at this moment?
Yes, well, because it was sold off to a company who wants to build, but they came and spoke to everybody about representing the sales. And right now, no company wants to get involved with it because they just see it as a big graveyard.
And that they ended up tearing down the full building.
Yeah,
right?
they had to tear down. Between all of the different lawsuits, they got just under $1 billion from everything. Everybody paid off quick and fast, whatever it was, because nobody wanted their name attached to this thing drawn out in the courts.
Right.
But now, the city of Surfside couldn't afford to buy the land. So it did sell off to a developer, but nobody wants to, nobody local there wants to be attached to the project. But, in another 10 years or so, time will pass and they will put up something with a memorial somewhere around it. But right now, it's still just, the pain is still there from people. But because of that, the law changed and you could no longer keep kicking the can down the road for funding your reserves to pay for product when it needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
So now all of these HOAs are being raised, but coming out of a New York market, it's just being raised to a normal number.
Right.
But down there, people were freaking out about it. So, so you're seeing a lot of people wanting to unload their properties, and I use unloads, that's not the right term, but they're just surprised about what's going on. And, the investors, the P&L's not working anymore for them, And when they bought these things, the dollar was weaker and the dollar strong again. It was all a lot of recession purchasing and stuff, or COVID purchasing. So now people, because, look what the rates were like during COVID. They were giving away money, But now you don't get those rates. So a lot of people just are realizing it's time to move on. And we're finding, again, this is a tremendous opportunistic buy for people because the product is there. And when, and somebody, if they want a specific building and there's nothing on the MLS, like you're a smart realtor, you look up who lives there, and you make phone calls.
Yeah.
Or you call up the one who's renting saying, you know what, I have a buyer for the unit.
Yeah.
Would you like to, because it's usually an investor,
Where do you live?
Right now, I live in Brickell.
You live in Brickell. So
And I live in Brickell because I need the urban environment like Manhattan.
You need
I've
the
lived on
action.
the beach. I've lived in other areas, all in and around Miami. But, I'm on the 46th floor of a beautiful apartment,
Yeah.
corner apartment.
You want to be in the action.
Yeah, but I have to, because I come from New York, I have to be able to walk downstairs to everything I need.
Do you still own investment properties in Florida?
No.
Okay. I'm curious what your position is on principally buying a home. Is buying a home a good investment?
Yes. But I tell people again, what's your end game on this? Because the whole idea of buying a home or, an apartment is, how long are you keeping it and what are you keeping it for? Are you raising a family in it? I get a lot of New Yorkers coming down who want to buy into nice communities to raise families with their kids, a lot of younger couples. And
There's a lot of those communities.
Yeah. Oh, and they're all over the place.
Yeah.
And they want good public school districts. Because if they're from Long Island or Westchester or Jersey, not Manhattan proper, but from, one of the burbs, they're used to a good school district.
Yeah.
If they come from Manhattan itself, they're used to private school.
So you're talking in a lifestyle context.
Yeah.
Like to serve your lifestyle, you
Right.
consider it to be a good investment. But what about on paper?
They will always go up in value. Because in I want to say there's a finite amount of land to build, but they always keep finding more land to build. They just,
Right.
the Everglades keep getting, filled in. But yes, it's all about how long are you keeping it for and why.
Yeah.
Because, there are people who will buy homes and rent them out, investors, because they know the family that's there, they could be there for 5 years or 6 years or 7 years if they're raising kids in a community.
Right.
So that's, if they're doing that, we're finding that that's a more financially, soluble, investment for somebody than somebody who's going to be in a condo, a one-bedroom condo, where they're going to be, every year they're going to be turning it.
Yeah.
People aren't looking for those short-term tenants anymore.
I find that the market has shifted a little bit in this conversation. People are believing more and more that buying a home is not the investment that it once was. Of course, in markets like Florida and markets like New York, it's a pretty safe bet that they will go up in value. But at the same time, when you own a home, you're paying a home all the time.
Right.
It's funny. It's like a paradox because we sell homes for a living and we're talking about this.
Right.
But the idea that, like, if I had $500,000 in equity to put into something,
Right.
if I could put it into more doors to create more cash flow and continue to rent my home, I see that as probably a better investment structure in the context of real estate.
Right.
Which means that I feel like us as real estate agents, we have to focus on lifestyle with
Right.
each home and sell that.
Right.
Because buying a home is a lifestyle decision. The American dream was created for banks, not
Always.
really for us.
Right.
So,
No, you're true. You're right, because that's how I speak to everybody all the time. It's like, what's your lifestyle? Where do you want to go?
Right.
I tell people, I ask 3 questions usually when a buyer comes to me and is interested in something. I go, where do you want to live? Because everybody knows where they have an idea where they want to be in Florida. What type of is it a house? Is it an apartment? What size? And when you wake up and you look out your living room window, what do you want to see? And if somebody says, I need a 3-bedroom in South Beach and I want a blue horizon line, I know what that's going to cost.
yeah.
And what they want, and then we go back and forth and have to play the game a little. But, I always tell people, what do you want to do every day when you get up? Are you a retiree? Or are you working? Do you want children? Is it important to be in a community that has a clubhouse and, a kid's playroom and a kid's pool? I always ask people because I find that people don't always have the answer or don't want to share it sometimes. But if you talk to them about it a little, talk to them about their life, their experience, what they want.
That's exactly it. You have to tap into what the person needs. And I think in our business, it's become so much more important to focus on things like hospitality, where you can really connect with people and really understand what they need and what they want.
Right.
I think that's what makes, at this point in time, that's what makes people, that's what influences their decision whether or not to work with us, more so than, how many houses has this guy sold?
Because
It's more like, does this person understand me?
yeah,
They get what I mean?
that's exactly what it is. You want to get into their head a little, but you want them to know that you're out working for them.
Right.
I don't have to sell them my listing. I don't have to sell them my company's listing. I have to sell them the property that's going to suit their needs.
Yes.
Wherever that property is. And sometimes, you have to help educate them to where these properties are.
Yeah.
Or where, they have a finite number they can pay. So, you can have that same 3-bedroom with a Blue Horizon line, but it's not going to be in South Beach.
Right.
It might be up the coast someplace else. You can get it all. You just can't get it in Miami at that price that you want.
Yeah.
But, you give people choices and you try to talk to them. I mean, when I have retirees, this is my favorite conversation when it's an older parents, I said, okay, so you're the grandparents now. So when you had your kids, didn't you love throwing them to your parents and you went on vacation and you left the kids? And the kids, they're supposed to spoil them. They're supposed to do that stuff. But I said, but do you want to be the grandparents that the kids come back and say, please don't take us there anymore. All Grandma did was play cards and Grandpa played golf every day and we didn't do anything. Or do you want to be the grandparents that you're in a community and you have things to do with your grandchildren?
Right.
And then they all laugh and they're like, yeah, of course, you want to be the good grandparents.
Yeah, well, I went with my family to Bal Harbor for Passover. My mother lives there.
Right.
And she actually she purchased a home like in around 101st in Collins.
Okay.
So right across, diagonally across from the Bal Harbor shops. And I learned on this trip that there was a Syrian synagogue there in Bal Harbor, the Magen David Synagogue, and I went there. And I found out that they're building like a $30 million structure right next to the Bal Harbor shops that they intend to, use and nourish the community with.
Right.
Which is for me, that's amazing. Like that to me solidifies my decision where I would want to have like a second residence in Florida is right there. The community element, as you pointed out, is what influences that decision. And the fact that my 2 kids who are babies are loving the beach and the pool and all the things to do and the park and all that. It's that's exactly what influences my decision, more so than is this home going to go up in value?
Right.
I'm not going to talk myself into that circle. This is a lifestyle decision.
You want to have fun with your kids and what you're doing.
Right. That's what makes buying a home valuable.
And you can't always put a price on that.
No.
But you want to make sure that when that time is over, you've done well with your investment.
Yeah.
And it's funny you say that because I just finished selling somebody right across from the Bal Harbor in the St. Regis.
Nice.
They all they wanted was a home in Boca, because he's local, and he's like, I need to be in Boca. That's my people.
I stayed there once.
Yeah.
I really didn't like it.
No. And I made him come down finally, and I was like, why don't you come down and look at what's going on in Bal Harbor?
Yeah.
You'll have the community. I said, what do you need a house for? I said, you want to golf? Go golf.
Yeah.
I said, but you want to be on the beach. Why
There's golf courses everywhere. You don't have to live on a golf course.
I was like, but get a condo. It's a flow through. It's in the St. Regis. You have all those amenities.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Your kids are going to come. They have grandkids now. They're all going to want to come and be here for the same reason. He has 3 sons that are all just getting married and having kids. And I was like, don't you want them to come to go to the beach? And then you have the shuls that you need. And, you can run down to Miami if you need it, but it's so centrally located.
Yeah.
And Surfside is so walkable just to go eat something either in the mall or in Surfside.
It's amazing, and also even for those more religious Jewish communities, like Miami has far more options for kosher food, kosher restaurants.
Yes.
It's pretty amazing. Like that whole strip of Harding is amazing.
Right. Well, that's why people love it up there, because that part of Surfside still has where there was a big Jewish community down in South Beach, still on 41st Street. A lot of people have migrated up into the Surfside, Bal Harbor area for the same reason that you liked it, for your family.
Where do you live in Brickell? Where do you like to spend most of your time?
Well, when I'm not working.
Yeah, when you're that's
right.
exactly what I'm asking.
Well, because, I love the beach. And I lived on the beach. But I realized that living in South Beach on the beach, I just felt like I was always in a tourist neighborhood.
Yeah.
Because it was. Okay.
Yeah, no, we're good.
Yeah.
So the Canon has a thing where every 30 minutes you have to press record again.
Oh, okay.
But it gives me a little quick
I
notification.
was like, are you editing me out already?
No, never.
No.
We're not editing. We're not editing. Chandler, don't edit any of this.
Right. Trust me, he does enough with me. I'm just like, just keep rolling.
Alan said it's fine. You could spend all your time on me.
Right,
It's fine.
exactly. Don't bother with me. But it's just, when I'm not, I like the arts a lot, but Miami doesn't have the museums and stuff like the city does here. But so in Florida, if I'm not, working, I do like to go to the beach. I like to go to restaurants. They do have some art galleries and art fairs that I like to do. And I also like to just, travel around in Florida.
Yeah.
Because it's, when I really need my culture fix, I'm here. Because I'm here every few weeks for business anyway. So I can go to the museums. I can go to plays. They have a Lincoln Center, knockoff, if you will. But I don't need to see the roadshow
Right.
of something when I can just come here and see the,
Yeah,
see
it's
it
just
where
not
it
what
needs
you
to be.
go there for.
Yeah, no. You go there because everybody I know has boats. So it's great to go out on a boat and spend the day out there. I won't have it because I can't deal with the upkeep of it. But
Yeah.
all these people love it.
It seems like a huge pain in the ass, though,
Yeah.
on a boat.
It
But
does.
there's some really nice ones. Like, you ever walk around that yacht club in Aventura?
Oh,
Just
yeah.
see all those. They're all parked there, or Palm Beach.
Yep. And I'm happy to go out on my friends' boats.
Yeah.
Go and leave.
Yeah.
With no care, no maintenance. Bring a bottle of champagne
Shoes
or something.
off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Because, being in Florida is outdoor living. Even in the summer. People are like, isn't it so hot? And I was like, I like to think of it like it's sultry.
Yeah.
You just wear big linen flowing clothes and, you just enjoy it, go to the beach for a little while. But, it's really outdoor living.
Yeah.
Now, I don't golf. I tried it. I was really bad. And I was like, all right, when
Don't
you...
golf either.
Right, no, I
like to play tennis. Tennis is popular
Yeah.
in Florida.
Well, now, paddle is
Pickleball,
Yeah,
yeah.
everything's pickleball now, and so I've done that because it's outdoors and it's still nice, and you go right now before it's the middle of the day and the sun is all out, but it's really outdoor living. So I try to do as much outdoor stuff as I can, even outdoor eating. I mean, it's nice. And then it's the summer, then you travel someplace for a few weeks
Yeah.
and get away. Because the market in Florida, while it never really stops anymore, because it's especially Miami area, the Tri-County area, because it's always busy. There's always somebody buying. There's always somebody selling. You just have to be in front of one side of that or the other. But, it does get slower. So it's the best time to try to go away, let somebody else work the listings for a while. And do it. But I just, to me, just walking around Wynwood, walking around the art galleries, I just like walking around Coconut Grove because I grew up in the city. I just like going there. And instead of having to go, 3 hours on a train to the Hamptons or to Fire Island to get to a beach or Jones Beach, it's literally, a 10-minute car ride.
I take a 45-minute ferry.
Right,
That's
there you
it.
go. Yeah.
That's it. I go to the Jersey Shore, and
Right.
I actually really love it. I only grew to love it over the last couple of years.
It's closer.
Yeah, it is close. Much easier to
Right.
get to. And plus, a ferry ride on a Friday afternoon in the summer, what a joy.
I know, yeah,
What a
that's-
joy that is.
That's just really, really nice.
Yeah.
But that's, to me, Miami, like I said, it's not the cultural scene, but it's very outdoorsy. So it's you're really getting a run for your money because, you're just boating or beaching or pooling or something like that.
Do you work more on the listing side or the buy side?
It goes back and forth. Right now, I'm doing more on the buy side.
So what's the part of the job that you love? Do you enjoy the listing side more so than the buy side, or you just do whatever works?
No, I like them both because what I really enjoy is watching when it's closes and they thank me.
Yeah, the
No
satisfaction.
matter which side it's on. It's, because, again, the buyer will never pay as low as they want. The seller will never get as
much
high as they want.
yeah.
Our job is to be a therapist in a way.
A mediator.
And yes, and bring them together and see that everybody gets something.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest joy, is just watching that go. Now, we don't have closings anymore up there because everything's virtual.
Yeah.
You know, we in down, you know, there is, you know, you just DocuSign everything. Or online, we do online notaries. So we can, anybody who even has a mortgage, everything's done online. You just can go into a Zoom and they do it that way now. So you don't really see people in person. I mean, you see them when you're doing the job. But in Florida, also, the realtor is also the lawyer.
Yeah, exactly.
Although I tell a lot
The
of people,
contract process is so much easier there. It's
fill in the
so
blanks.
inefficient here. It's ridiculous, and it's the only market left that operates this way.
Right.
And it's crazy. The fact that you can go to a showing and just sign the contract in the room over there before you leave, like, that's amazing.
Right. Well, yeah, so that's also another reason why we do so much of the business ourselves, and we get so involved with the client, no matter which side you're on, because we can do the contracts. Now, I will always tell people, if they're more comfortable, have someone else, your guy do it.
Yeah,
but
I have clients who have used attorneys just to, like, review what they're signing.
Right.
But it's just, you know, it's pretty amazing that you could take matters into your own hands. And if you're buying a property for cash, there's really nothing in that contract you need to really care about. It's sign, give me the money, give me the keys.
Do an inspection, see what's going on, and that's it.
Right.
You know? But we tell people, like, you know, we get so much more involved with our client, no matter on your listing or the buy side, because of the paperwork, and that we actually are in charge of the paperwork.
Yeah.
But every title company I work with, there's always an attorney who runs the title company. So I always tell my clients, if you have a question, he's an attorney. You can speak to him about it. Or if you have your own attorney, he can speak to your attorney, because the New Yorkers don't understand the Florida contracts, and even the New York attorneys up here don't really get it.
Yeah.
But they see how easy it's so,
every market
so
like
simple.
I hate when someone brings in an outside attorney.
Right.
It just throws a wrench in the engine every time.
It does, but you know what? I've learned how to, like, coordinate that before they actually talk to each other. I mean, sometimes you get somebody who's just problematic or just wants billable hours.
I just want someone who knows New York real estate.
Right, that's it. That's
it. You know, I want an attorney who does contracts and understands it here, because those who don't, or the ones who focus only on commercial real estate, they always are very heavy-handed with the pen.
Right.
It's like, this is a cash transaction. Can we all calm down here?
Right.
You know?
I just had that going on right now. I have somebody buying an all cash property in Florida, and they're going under an LLC, and the association doesn't like this one association in Aventura.
Yeah, there are a lot
really
of co-ops like that.
Yeah, they don't want that. But I was like, why? You know, oh, well, we need money in escrow. These people disappear. I said, it's a cash transaction. Nobody's disappearing. There's no mortgage being paid. I mean, this one building, they want 6 months of maintenance held in escrow for 5 years. And I mean, they're fine doing it, but they're like, why?
Yeah.
You know, but, you know, listen, it's like the co-op process down here. One little, you know, wrench, you know, something can screw it up, and then you just have to, like, fix it or deal with it. And I'm doing that because the New York attorney doesn't understand why the Florida condo board wants this. So I was like, well, here it is. Let me explain it to you. The client doesn't care about putting 6 months of, I mean, for what they're paying for this property. They're like, I'll just put 6 months in an escrow account for them. But the attorney is the one now who, like, well, I need to speak to the president of the board. I need to know why this and that. And I just called him, and I was like, this was just today. I was like, Gary, nobody cares. They don't want the LLC. So she can either buy it under her own name. You want this for, you know, for tax purposes and for, you know, future planning, family planning. I said, so, you know, this is what you have to do. I said, I can't change their minds. And I said, I don't understand why it bothers you. Well, I've never heard of it. I said, okay. But, you know, these oddities happen in our business.
Right.
You know, we don't make the rules all the time.
It's not binary. It's never binary.
No.
Every deal is different. Every deal has its own intricacies.
Right. You know, but, you know, we're finding that, you know, if you know how to work through it and you talk to people and you talk to these attorneys, and I'm like, because half the time I know what's going on. They're just trying to do some more billable hours with their clients, and it gets me so pissed off. But, it's not like, nothing I can do about it, but I'm happy to explain it. And because I actually have read the contracts and I know what they all say, and I read that part of the condo docs that talk about this, I'm like, here's the page where this thing is, and, that's it.
It's interesting. You said that you like to work on both listings and buyers. I find that it's the professionals in our business that like being the bridge between buyer and seller, the way you put it.
Right.
You said the satisfaction at the end of it when people are happy and they thank you. That's kind of like the why behind the whole thing.
Correct.
And now you're describing an instance where you're speaking to an attorney and you're calmly explaining the position and you're being with him and his concerns, but you're using that to walk this deal over the finish line.
Right.
You're acting as the bridge, the mediator, the go-between, and the one who pulls everything together. I find that it's the professionals that focus on that element of it, the hospitality element of it, that kind of take the most joy out of this business. Yeah. Like for me, I love both sides also.
Right.
I'm more of a listing agent, but my whole thing is creativity, and it's also hospitality. And I see the work as being the bridge between those two worlds, the creativity being telling the story of the home, the hospitality being, helping the buyer and the seller feel comfortable with where we're going, the path we're on. And I just find that I just love the work for that reason. It's not real estate that really wakes me up every single morning as much as it's home.
I just really like the satisfaction of helping somebody, if they're coming from here, to relocate, re-energize themselves. Why are they moving? What's the reason for it? How can I help them in this new chapter in their life? What are they doing? For whatever the reason is, helping them attain their goal is wonderful. And on the sell side, they're selling for some reason, and helping them attain their goal because they're moving on to something else. Or they're an investor and, they've made their spread and they're ready to leave. Yeah. But whatever it is, it's like watching them say, thank you. You got me what I wanted. Nobody gets 100% of anything they want, but you get it. And, and I like when because I end up, helping both sides often, especially if the other side isn't that, versed in their business. And we all know about that too. Sometimes you got to pull the other side across the line. There's usually
a weak link in every transaction.
Exactly. But if you're strong enough to recognize that up front and to say, okay, how do I fix this? Or how do I just keep this going? Because some of these transactions, we know, it'll go off kilter, and then you got to bring it back. Mm-hmm. Because
many of them.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's about closing the deal and moving on to the next. It's not about holding out for some extra money or, everybody wants something, but our jobs is to close the deal and close it so that everybody wants to do it, because obviously the buyer wants to buy, the seller wants to sell. Yeah. So if we can connect them up the right way, everybody gets what they want, and you go on to the next transaction.
Is there a deal you're most proud of? Or a moment in your career overall that you're most proud of?
Well, there's been a few depending on age groups and who they are. But I really like helping a lot of young couples that are coming down, people starting their life because they have decades ahead of them where, I want them to be happy what they're doing and hopefully use me as they outgrow this house and go to the next house or whatever. But I also find it very, very, just soothing to have a retiree who's going down there and saying, okay, this chapter in my life is gone. Now I'm ready to explore what's next. Yeah. And you find them the right fit for where they want to be, and it's just it just really makes me just feel warm inside seeing that they've done that. Now some of it has been nice financial rewards, some of it has been nothing really, but it's the way you feel about, helping somebody. Like, not everything is about the dollar at the end of the day. I mean, yeah, it is, but it's the aggregate dollar at the end of the year.
Yeah, well, the money is the consequence of the work.
Right. I mean, it's the catalyst, because we're all in this business to make money.
Yes.
But you can make more on one deal than on another deal, but I get everybody who's happy. I mean, one of my best deals and one of my strangest was selling a house in COVID, virtual, to a New York doctor, came down, bought a house sight unseen. Well, we toured a bunch on the Venetian Islands, $8 million.
Wow.
Okay, bought it, done. 30 months later, COVID was over. He's like, all right, I don't want the house anymore. He wanted 14. I told him it wasn't worth it. I got him 12. So, and he didn't.
He made $4 million.
And he didn't think it was enough.
In just a couple of years?
30 months.
Wow.
And he didn't think it was enough. And to me, I'm like, I saw it as, 20 million over the course of 30 months. But at the same time, like, it was strange to believe that, like, he thought he knew more because he was, looking up comps online. I was like, that's new construction. Yours is a 20-year-old house.
Right.
But you know what? I said, tell me where else you would make this type of a profit in 30 months.
No other state,
No.
That's for sure.
And I was like, I was thrilled with it, and the client really was upset with me.
Really?
Took it, of course. Took it and ran.
That's funny. That reminds me of a story out of a deal I did recently where there was some last minute costs that came up at closing. And this was minor stuff.
Right.
We're talking about a few $1,000s. And my client, who was the seller, just made a massive stink over it. Just
Right.
like very aggressive in his wording in the emails, calling me, being like, this is bullshit. I've sunk so much money. I'm not doing this. I'm not blah, 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 blah. And we're like literally an hour from closing. And so I call his attorney, and I think his name was Robert. I was like, Robert, what are we going to do here? Like, he goes, listen, he's going to pay the money and he's going to make a fuss, but he'll be all right.
Right. There you go. Because, people just want to complain about it.
Yeah.
And sometimes...
And they want to be heard.
Yeah. And you know what? Sometimes when I have a client like that, I'm like, look, I mean, I had something once that was over like $1,500. They were just pissing back and forth, these two people. And I had both sides of the deal on this thing. Yeah. And it was just ridiculous. And I was like, you know what? I'll just pay it. Because I don't want to hear the fighting. I want the deal done.
Yeah.
And then the seller was annoyed. He goes, no, you can't pay for it. They have to pay for it. So I said, okay, they'll pay for it. But then on the closing statement, it showed it. And he didn't want to sign because I said I was going to do it, and I did it.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I said, why do you care? You got what you wanted.
It's over.
It's over. Like,
everybody's happy.
Deal's done. You didn't pay it.
Because it's just about sticking it to them.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just about winning the conversation.
Yeah. Doing this is competitive for a lot of people.
Right. It's not really about the numbers or the money when it's something so small. It's just like people just feel like it's just not right. I shouldn't have to do this.
Is there a listing you're most excited about coming up, or that you've got right now?
Well, I just got something that I am excited about, but it's sad. I'm just watching the jellyfish. I like on the screensaver. I just realized it all. I'm like, what's that over there?
Yeah, I didn't do that on purpose.
Yeah, no. I like
soothing.
it. Yeah, no, it is. I'm
soothing.
like, and then I have to click back in for a second. I have a listing right now. I mean, it's sad, but I sold a house to a young couple 2 years ago, in a nice school district up in Parkland. They have one kid. They spent the last 2 years renovating it. They sold their place in Brooklyn. They were about to move down 2 weeks ago. The husband is 53 years old, walks down the street, has a heart attack and passes. And the woman, and I sold it, and she calls me up crying hysterically.
Oy.
And I'm like, I'll sell it for you. And I don't even care, here's what
I'll
it's
do you a
worth.
favor.
Yeah, I'll do you a favor. But it's like, at the same time, I know now how tapped she is.
Right.
Because they had just bought a warehouse down there. They were moving the whole business. And she's just freaking out, because it's unsettling.
Yes.
It's not what you expect. They were moving down because schools were going to start again, Florida, yada, yada. But I was like, I feel like, I gave her a big discount on the commission and stuff because I felt like, I'm helping somebody.
You wanted to help.
I want to help. And that's all I want to do is I want to help her, because I know she's just out of control in grief. And, I'm not proud of it, but it means a lot to me, this listing, to get this thing sold fast and quick.
Yeah, so it's really like you've made the work bigger than yourself. It's really about whatever that situation is making sure that's taken care of for your client, facilitating that and facilitating that next chapter. I think that's why you draw so much fulfillment from working with first-time buyers and young couples, because you are at a different stage of your life, and if you could add joy, bring joy to that earlier stage in their life, that's very fulfilling for you.
Right. And I like that. I like it said that way because it is true. It makes me feel good helping them.
Write that down with your new Peninsula.
I will. Well, I'll wait. Chandler, send me this little piece of recording here. But what I do find is that, I do have a few listings that are coming up in some new construction buildings that took years to get finished. And they're finally finished now. And the clients they waited so long, they'd just resell this stuff already, because they couldn't wait any longer because all of this construction got stopped in COVID. And now all of a sudden, all of these buildings are coming online. And by this time, the client has already bought something else. So they're like, just sell this, sell that. So there's so much business going on because we're getting a lot less buyers are coming in for these pre-construction deals now. They don't want to wait 3 or 4 years, 5 years to get something. So they're ready to do something on the flip for these projects that are finally coming to completion.
Yeah.
Like the Aston Martin, which is a beautiful building down there, or the Cipriani's in the Grove.
And Mercedes-Benz.
Mercedes-Benz,
which is 100 apartments in 48 hours or something?
First couple of
That's
days.
Ridiculous.
Sight unseen.
Unreal.
Because there was, it's just, that brand.
Yeah.
It just was.
It's the Sirhan effect.
Yes.
And Mercedes and JDS.
And
it's a hell of a team.
It's
like a Scorsese movie.
Yeah. And the building itself is beautiful.
Yeah.
Because Shop Architects did it. It's just
It looks like a quality project. It's not just the tacky project.
Right. It is quality. There's 2 buildings to it, but it's also going to be a full square city block with a park attached to it in the middle of Brickell, which there is nothing else like that in Brickell at all.
Yeah. I went to Palm Beach for the first time only about 18 months ago. First time in my life. I was down there, and when I was down there, I got a phone call from Ryan, and we were talking about a deal we're working on. And he asked me, he goes, "Where are you?" I said, "Oh, I'm in Palm Beach." He goes, "Oh, Palm Beach is the best."
Right.
He's describing the demographic of wealth that goes and gravitates to Palm Beach. And you really realize that you feel it when you're in that scene. It's very proper. It's very buttoned up.
Yes.
And it's got real Southern charm, I find. I really, really love it over there. It's a special place.
Oh, it is. And I love it too. I mean, it's a specific audience.
Yes, it is.
And it's funny that you say that because I was just with a client who's is a commercial deal I'm looking at, and he's a big wine distributor, and he wants to open up a retail shop where the bottles go from like 1,000 to 60,000. And he's like, "Where can I do this?
Palm Beach, the only place."
That's what I told him. And he's like, I said, "But you do have to realize that it's seasonal. You're not going to get that audience."
It's not a year-round?
No.
Other than the summer, maybe?
Well, because people have multiple homes. They don't need to be there in the summer.
But I feel like the Breakers is always hopping. And
yeah, but I told him, I said, he's like, "Well, I want my warehouse in my building." I was like, "No. You just want to be like on Worth Avenue in a store, and your warehouse can be out west someplace, and you can bring it in.
Could be right off the highway."
I said, "Why do you think it needs to be on site?" I said, you're not a destination. I mean, he lives in Manhattan here. So I was like, you have to understand, you want people to come by and find you. I said, people in Palm Beach are not going to drive out to Weston to go to your shop to go buy a $5,000 bottle of wine. But if it's in front of them and you're doing tastings, I said, that's the only audience that you're going to get.
Yeah.
I said, but you're still not going to sell, I said, have you, because he's never done retail. I said, have you done a P&L yet with a spreadsheet? He didn't know what a P&L was. And I was like, listen, you need an accountant. I said, because you have to understand that
you've got a line to all
what you're
those people.
talking about is not going to work for you. But, I don't want to say no to this.
Right.
Because, it could be he wants to buy the building.
Plus, the region. You might as well work it.
Right. Well, I told him, I said, but you just have to understand it's not a full year industry.
Yeah.
Your foot traffic is going to be different. Even if you opened up in the breakers. I said, you're starting at $1,000 a bottle. I said, that's not, even people in Palm Beach aren't going to be spending that type of money every day for a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
I said, so I don't think it's the right industry.
I was talking to Chase on this podcast.
Right. I know Chase very well.
Yeah, I know you do. We were talking about Palm Beach, and we were taling about the breakers, and he goes, "Oh, I hate that hotel."
Right.
I was like, "Why?" I enjoyed it. He goes, "That hotel's like a cruise ship." I was like, "What do you mean?" They have all these little stores and boutiques in there. I was like, "Okay, that's interesting." I started thinking about it like that it's very commercial in that context. But
of course
it's
it is.
beautiful.
It's a hotel to sell product.
Yeah.
But Chase is a very specific customer.
Yeah, very buttoned up.
Yes, yes.
I really enjoy that guy's company. He's a good guy.
I know him well. I know his father well also. And, I'm doing some business with him, actually.
Fantastic.
And they're great people. They really are.
You're a great guy. I'm
Thank
happy.
you.
I'm happy you're here. This is very nice.
Once I get started, I just keep going. It's like, it was funny because I asked Chandler, I said, well, what's he going to ask me about? He goes, I don't know. He goes, but you don't have to worry.
Yeah, for I try to just keep these more as open forum conversation.
Yeah.
Usually it's navigated by a few questions, or if I know there's something really juicy I
Right.
can grab here. But yeah, I feel like it's, for me, the whole purpose of this podcast is to just speak to people I find interesting that I want to speak to. It doesn't have to be just real estate. It can be anyone.
No, that's it, because...
And I like talking to someone like yourself who thinks of the work as a little bit bigger than himself, or as the check, or is a little bit bigger than the check. Yeah. I actually don't think this is a business you can get into for the money. You can maybe stay in it for the money once you get really big, but it takes years to really make your bones in this business. And if you don't fall in love with the work or do it, in alignment with what you're really passionate about, the way you think about it, helping people, and being that bridge between buyer and seller.
Right.
I think that's what makes this business sustainable.
Oh, yeah. People ask all the time, I want to get started. What should I do? And I was like, well, you got to realize you're not making money at the beginning.
Right.
Or they find me because I have a very big following on Instagram and on the Reels and, and all this stuff.
Of course.
Because I'm just me, and all I do is talk and give my opinions, and, people love to hate. And that's what keeps the algorithm going and keeps it going up.
That's what keeps Sirhan calling you up for juice.
That's, like, they know, like, everything is like 700,000, 800,000 views, 1.2 million views, and they keep like, come back here, we need more. And I'm like, well, how am I monetizing this for you?
Yeah.
I'm happy to do it, but it's just, people just come to me all the time. And, I'm surprised how many people recognize me on the street, because I don't think of myself that way. And then I realize...
More so in Florida or in New York?
More so in Florida, because the content is always mostly about Florida. So it shows up on feeds all the time, because I'm just giving my opinions on stuff. And, when you give the opinion, people love to hate what you say.
Yeah.
But I'm just surprised. I forget. And then people are just like, you're that guy, you're that broker, and I was like,
do you get a lot of those people or those clients in Florida that want to come back to New York, and do you help them with those transactions?
I have some people. I probably had about half a dozen that I've been able to work with up here as well.
You're licensed in New York as well?
No. I purposely never got a New York license. Because I didn't want any of the...
who's your referral source? How do we steal that?
Yeah. But the point
just give me his name. I'll put him in a trunk somewhere.
I didn't do it because I didn't want people thinking if I met their client and they liked me, all of a sudden they would want to give me their New York business.
Right.
So it was all part of my strategy
Keep the
when I
referral.
went to keep it clean and to let people know that I'm only licensed down there. I'm only focusing down there. I don't need to be licensed. I'll refer up here to people, but I don't want people thinking I'm ever stealing their customers.
Yeah.
Because, like it or not, there's not always a lot of trust. There's
Yeah.
very few people that
Well,
actually trust each other in this industry.
Well, that's classy of you,
Yes.
for sure.
Yeah.
You're a gentleman.
Yeah, and that's also what helps me get referral business.
You ever been upstreamed on the street for a cab? Oh, it's the worst.
Oh, yeah.
You're waiting for a cab, someone hops like 50 feet in front of you, and they grab the cab you're waiting for.
Oh, yeah.
This morning, I was just about to hop into a cab, and then I didn't realize that there was a woman like 25 feet in front of me waiting for that cab. And I was about to put my foot in, and I felt so bad that I was like, "No, I didn't see it.
You didn't see it, right?
Yeah, you come over, take the cab." And she was like, "Wow, I can't believe you did that." I'm like,
Oh, yeah,
I
listen.
hate when people do that to me.
But sometimes, I've been the
Sometimes
one.
you got to be a gentleman,
Yes, and sometimes you got to cut someone off because
Yeah.
you're late for a meeting, and you hate to do it,
especially in New York.
but you do, yeah. And I just was like, I just did that coming up here. Like there was two people in front of me, and I was just like, just move out of the way. I need to go somewhere. I'm late. I got to do this.
Yeah, well,
But
I'm
I got
happy-
here.
I'm happy that you're here, Alan. This has been a pleasure. Thank you for doing this.
Oh, very
for
welcome.
rushing up here. I guess
Yeah.
we have a party to go to pretty soon.
Yeah, so we have the pre-party.
We should roll down there together.
Yeah, because Sean McPeck is doing some type of pre-party with a bunch of group right down the block. So I said we'd come.
Okay, cool.
So we'll go there and then go to the launch of Owning Manhattan.
very
The new Ryan Serhant Netflix. I got to do the promotion.
I suppose you do.
Yeah, starting next week, 8-part series. I'm in it towards the end.
Nice.
And, it's just going to be a lot of fun.
That's
It's going to
great.
be a great day.
Cheers
Thank
to
you
you.
again. This was really enjoyable. Cheers.
Happy to have you. Cheers.